This is time to look at what the papers are saying on their front pages, and as is routine, we start with our sister publication, This Day newspaper. Let's get to see what it has on its front page. End of confrontation in Edo State, as 38-year-old new deputy governor Macaulay is sworn in. Obaseki, new partner, symbolizes belief in power youth. My impeachment, illegal attack on democracy, says ex-deputy Shuaibu. CRPP condemns development. All right, presidency chastises Atiku over remarks on Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, says former VP's killjoy of project that will boost economies of 9 states. CBN bans use of foreign currency denominated collaterals for Naira loans. And on the top mast, Finance Minister, FD has paid 4.83 trillion Naira of ways and means advances, list 3 areas of focus to grow the economy.
Let's take a look at the New Telegraph this morning. It's a leading story on the front page. Emirates will resume flights to Nigeria before June. The Minister of Aviation, Keyamo, putting a date to that, assures he received letter from the airline on carrier's returns. At the bottom there, Deputy Governor in Edo State, the Assembly has impeached Philip Shaibu and CJ, the Justice of the State, swears in Omo Bayo. 60 PDP reps demand party's chair Damagun's resignation. Let's take some stories at the top there. Alleged abuse of office, court to rule on Emefiele's bail application on the 11th of April. Also, the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu receives Pelumi Nubi, says she's Lagos Tourism Ambassador. That's the lady who solo drove from London to Lagos.
Right, let's look at the Punch newspaper. Banks get 3-month deadline to stop forex-backed loans. Naira rises to 1,220 to the dollar. CBN sells forex to Bureau de Change operators at 1,101 to the dollar. EFCC probes 50 accounts linked to humanitarian ministry. Wike Fubara feud splits PDP. 60 reps demand Chairman Damagum's resignation. And Emefiele returns to EFCC custody, faces 4th arraignment, April 25th.
The Guardian Nigeria this morning, Naira nears 1,000 to the dollar as the central bank's policies stress test banks unlock liquidity. Leading photos there, that of the President, CBN Governor, Minister of Finance Wale Edun. Petrol subsidy payment pushes NNPCL's for import debt to $3 billion. A wobbly opposition, PDP crisis gets messier as Labour Party battles internal bleeding. We just had these 2 reports on Labour Party Indy.
Yeah,
we'll talk about this later. Court remands former governor of CBN Emefiele in EFCC custody. Meanwhile, Shaibu protests impeachment as Godwin's emerges new deputy governor. Saudi Arabia declares tomorrow Eid al-Fitr, says fast continues.
All right, let's look at what the Punch Sports Extra is saying. On its front page, South Africa versus Nigeria won. The coach of South Africa says, or Bayana keeper says, Nigeria will be tough, all to play for. It's crunch day in the European Championships. Champions serial winners face off at Bernabeu. That is Man City, Real Madrid. That's Man City. Then, of course, Bayern Munich, Arsenal versus Bayern Munich at the Emirates. Someone says 3 to Arsenal and 0 to Bayern Munich. A.O. Seaman, fans hails Nigerian striker after gravity-defying header. I don't know whether you saw that header. We'll get to that, Lemmy. All right, that's for the Sports Extra.
Quickly to the international scene, The Guardian UK. Let's start with the leading photo there. People wearing special protective glasses watch as a total solar eclipse passes over Mazatlan on Mexico's west coast yesterday afternoon. Some people in the US also got to see it in Canada as well. More stories from The Guardian UK. Stammer told to resurrect Sure Start to help the poorest. Meanwhile, Palestinians return to a devastated Khan Yunis.
We did show that a while ago. Daily Express, campaigners call for increase in funding for more radiotherapy treatment centers. NHS must end long, cruel journeys for cancer care.
And now for a review of what's making the headlines on the front pages, we're joined by Lemmy Ugebe, who's a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for being here with us bright and early. Let's start with this day newspaper and its front page. You can't miss that. Everyone was talking about this yesterday. It says, end of confrontation in Edo State. Is it really the end? As 38-year-old new deputy governor is sworn in. The governor Obaseki says this new partner symbolizes his belief for the power of youth. Shaibu says, look, this is illegal and it's an attack on democracy. Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, the debacle between Shaibu and his principal, former principal as it is now, Godwin Obaseki, it's clearly symptomatic of the relationship or of the handling of governance at the state level. There's really rarely any semblance of democracy at the state level. The governor determines what the lawmakers, the State House of Assembly, would do. And so Shaibu should have read the handwriting on the wall the moment the impeachment, the chief judge, ordered the constitution of the panel for his impeachment. So if he knew that that had been done, instead of walking out on the panel, he should just have taken the high ground of even just resigning and not allowing this blemish on his political credentials of being impeached. So, but it's not the end of it. If you know Shaibu very well, you know that he will go to court. But again, he's going to court, with his hands tied backward. A new deputy governor has been sworn in. Sadly, these governors across the various states in Nigeria really operate like emperors, and that's the reason some of us are very wary when you talk about state police and other issues. So we really hope that we can have a system where governors and the State's House of Assembly will be able to operate without being manipulated or controlled by the executive.
In one phrase, obeying the rule of law.
Yeah.
All right, the Punch. Banks get, you take your pick. Banks get 3-month deadline to stop forex-backed loans. Naira rises to 1,220 to the dollar. And then the quarrel between Fubara and PDP splitting the PDP. Some are asking for Damagun's resignation. EFCC probes 50 accounts linked to humanitarian ministry. We're hearing that again. It's coming up. Then MFLS travails, returns to EFCC custody, faces fourth arraignment April 25th.
Well, start with Emefiele. Emefiele had a wonderful time as CBN governor, enjoying himself, doing a lot of things that Nigerians really shouted blue murder for. Having Emefiele, for instance, throw himself in the fray, wanting to run for the presidency of the country, even though he didn't eventually take a ticket in that regard. You saw so much ostentation on the part of Emefiele with vehicles, according to him, donated by friends for his botched presidential ambition. So he's been cited now for abuse of office, which is just one of the many cases. And the judge has adjourned till 11th of April, which means that Emefiele is not going to have the opportunity of sharing time with some of his best friends from the north during the Salah period. So, of course, usually there's a position of the law that if you apply for bail and the judge has to adjourn till another day to rule, you are deemed to have been technically denied bail, at least for the time being. But he has his day in court and would need to answer for his infraction, because we're aware of how difficult it made life for Nigerians, especially during the execution or implementation of the Buhari administration change of currency. So he needs to answer and account for it, even though it's my position that he's still soft target. The man who ordered that all these policies be implemented is there enjoying himself. Nobody has said anything about it because of the perceived immunity that presidents enjoy outside their reigning office. Then we talk of PDP, Fubara, and the list that has been so allegedly doctored. PDP needs to get its act together. The idea that you would have the lawmakers now, 60 of them, I think, who are calling for Damago's removal, accusing him of anti-party activity, talking about a list that favors APC sympathizers or people who are loyal to APC within PDP. PDP has been very unsure-footed in the way it's conducted itself. You have the minister of the FCT who clearly is with the APC, even if he's not resigned, and that man is still dictating what happens in PDP in Rivers, working in cahoots with Damagun. So I do think that they should take stronger steps, and PDP should be decisive on what happens to Wike, and of course the list that has been allegedly doctored that is emerged in controversy. What's the other?
Well, the dollar one.
Yes, the dollar issue. It's really fascinating how this current Cardoso team is doing magic. I still call it magic because are we generating forex? We know that the former president, then President Muhammadu Buhari, borrowed us blind, and most of the forex, when you export crude and all that, it's used to service the forex we should have gotten is used to service debts. So it's magical for me. It's very surreal, and because we've not even improved or expanded on our economy in terms of we still have a monolithic economy. So how is this being achieved without productivity, without being able to export things out, goods and services, and yet this magic is being done?
Well, someone wrote and said, with God, all things are possible.
It is my hope, really, that this will be sustained, that they can tinker and continue to tinker, because we are proud that the Naira is gaining some grounds, but we hope this is sustainable, because for now, the econometrics of it does not, it's quite mysterious as it is. But again, I was in a place trying to buy something in a supermarket yesterday, and somebody said, how can this cost this amount again? What is the idea that the dollar is falling and the Naira is rising, and we can't see the impact on these products? So we hope that that will also have effect on it, and perhaps that's part of why we wonder at the magic that has not been able to reflect or affect the people so far.
All right, if you take a look at the front page of the New Telegraph, it's headlined this morning talking about Emirates. The Minister of Aviation says he received a letter from the airline on the carrier's return, and it will return to flights to Nigeria, and that's going to happen before June. He also says Nigerian airline operations are disadvantaged. We know that there's been a lot of back and forth between UAE and Nigeria, and we've heard this time and time again. They're going to resume at this time, or they're not going to resume. And also there's a story on how aeropolitics intrigues denied Air Peace its Heathrow slot. What are your thoughts?
Yes, it's important. I've not had a chance to really express my appreciation of the work that Festus Keyamo is doing as Minister of Aviation. We are not all to talk about the negative. It's important that when you find ministers, I think he's one of the finest ministers in terms of performance in this administration, and it's very commendable. We saw the work he did with Air Peace, being able to eventually start operations to the UK. Yeah, eventually it got the Gatwick airport as where, landing base. We'll continue to negotiate, continue to discuss. The minister has his head in the right place. So I think that Nigeria's diplomacies should continue to prevail. And I think that will be sorted out, even though it was very funny and really embarrassing to think that when Air Peace was to land or so, they said airpiece
Should go to a
should
bush.
go to some forest area that the space was being reserved for an international flight. If we
mean,
cannot
yeah,
It's
my
almost an
sister.
international flight.
and for a foreign flight. So if we cannot honor ourselves in Nigeria, we do not expect that foreigners will honor us. So it's important that we continue to encourage the Minister of Aviation and ministers in the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that
Take a cue.
they should take a cue from what he's doing, take a cue from what even the Internal Affairs Minister is
John.
doing, and ensure that they actually live true to renewed hope and Nigerians can feel their impact.
All right, today at Bernabeu, you have Madrid facing off against Man City. And then you have two brothers, Saka and his captain in the national team. I've forgotten his name now. Playing together. That's Arsenal versus Bayern. Gunners hope to break jinx against Bavarians. Do you see that happening on current form? What do you think?
Yes, on current form, the vibe is very good. The energy is very positive. They have a rich vein of form, talking about Arsenal, and with them still staying on the top of the English Premiership League, I think there's no better time for the Gunners to be meeting with Bayern Munich, which is really not doing so well at the moment. They dropped a 2-goal lead and conceded 3 goals and lost that game. You know, you now wonder if the hoodoo in Tottenham has followed Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, it was Harry Kane I was trying to remember.
You know, so but it's going to be a great match to watch. And you look at the Real Madrid
City
versus Man City. On paper, Man City should easily take it because they are so star-studded. Yes, Real Madrid is good. They have a pedigree.
Top in their league.
They have a pedigree, but I think Man City has what it takes to edge them on this note. Yeah.
Their defense is
Let
suspect.
me quickly, before we let you go, I don't know if you've been following the story of one Pelumi Nubi who solo drove all the way from London to Lagos, and she just arrived Lagos yesterday and was made a Lagos State ambassador. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Well, she's taken up the gauntlet and demonstrated resilience, especially resilience, to be able to do such a trip. And I think it took 68 days alone. It's not an easy feat at all.
And documenting that journey.
Yes. And you have Lagos State has come out rightly, and I think I saw even Abike Dabiri, all of them today. She's announced as the Lagos tourism ambassador. So
That's a fantastic feat.
Yeah.
That is a heart. 68 days. Those are 2 months and a week or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Let me go for being early on Daybreak.